Come, let us explore why I've stopped practicing detachment, and you should too. Going to jump ahead so I can find a peachy keen visual aid. This'll work. When we read the Tao Te Ching, or when we read the teachings of the Buddha and learn about his foolish cousin Devadatta, or when we read the Gospels and learn there are two paths you can walk on. Simply put, the first is Yang's, the majority traverse Yang's religious patriarchy. The minority tend to choose Yin's spiritual matriarchy. There's a huge difference. Sadly, people who are naturally prone to being rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel, are drawn positions of prestige and power, like religious or governmental or financial or business leadership. So it should come as little surprise that the minions of Yang's religious patriarchy, the ones who are rigid and fearful and superstitious and controlling and elitist, are hot for detachment. Because detachment is a way of controlling what we're feeling. It's a form of repression of what we're feeling. But that has nothing to do with the teachings of Lao Tzu or the Buddha or the Christ. Let's turn the page. I'm going to hit button home. So detachment is this morning's, oopsie, wrong button. Detachment is this morning's boogeyman. Detachment is a form of repression. Repressing our emotions. And it is an indulgence of our controlling tendencies. And it is an excellent reflection of our rigid thinking. The people who are the most convinced of this are the people who've done the least amount of study. Yes, if you look hard enough, you will find a text somewhere to support your opinion, whatever your opinion is. There's a difference between working backwards from conclusion or working forwards from fact. There's a great big huge difference between saying authority is a source of truth or saying truth is a source of authority. Radically different worldviews. And when fascists come to power, isn't that a creative spelling? When fascists come to power, they do this thing called post-revisionist historianism. And I'm probably mispronouncing the last word. But basically, they rewrite the past. That's happened in every religion. That's happened in every spiritual path, whatever minions of Yang come into control. But they're not as thorough as they think they are. And the truth is pernicious, and it clings to the edges. The first enlightenment factor is mindfulness, which means we are to be aware of what we're experiencing. Let me jump forward in the text a bit, find another useful visual aid. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we access our sympathetic nervous system ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord. The sympathetic nervous system has evolved to help us to notice in a very special way, to help us notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. Notice this is all soft and squishy. There's nothing rigid here. There's no control. There's no, Third Reich stomping about. We have ways to make you detach. Oh, they are not pleasant ways. There's none of that at all. This is all very squishy stuff. This is deliberate. So what is it we have evolved to notice? We have evolved to notice mind's antics of perception. Of course, the sights and sounds and sensations and flavors and scents. But there's more. There's more, including emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. And we are to be vulnerable to all of these things, which is the opposite of detachment. So, yes, we can notice these things, and yes, we can't inhale forever. It's not going to happen. So, when the inevitable exhalation occurs, we are wired to automatically access our parasympathetic nervous system divided between the lower third and the upper third of that same spinal cord. Our parasympathetic nervous system evolved to support both physical relaxation as well as mental release. The mental release of what we noticed during our previous inhalation. Does that mean the emotion goes away or the intention goes away or the thought goes away? No. It's right there with you. Like a fart. It's just hanging out, creating your own little ecosystem. And what's the purpose of releasing? We're releasing our resistance to the present moment, whether the present moment be glorious or grotesque or interesting or boring. For a neurodivergent like me, boredom is the absence of dopamine, and it is just dying to death in the I was going to say there's a desert that begins with the consonant M in China. I forgot what it's called, but I wanted to mention that. But anyway, you get the idea. Is it Gobi? Yeah, the Gobi Desert. There's no M. I was confused. But anyway, you get the idea. So releasing doesn't get rid of what we're experiencing. It doesn't dampen our perception of what we're experiencing. It dampens our resistance to what we're experiencing. And it sort of undermines the efforts of our survival instincts to control our choices and our utterances and our deeds. They're still there. We need them. They're useful. They're baked into the cake of our basal ganglia. But they control us less and less and less. They're still there. Similarly, the full spectrum of emotions are still there. One moment. But they are controlling us less and less and less. We might feel foolish, but we play the fool less and less and less. We harm others with our choices, utterances, and deeds less and less and less. But we still feel the full spectrum of perceptions, emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, and imaginings. Now, what's in it for them? Why do some poop heads prance about the countryside, insisting that we're supposed to stop feeling? Profit. If you tell people to do something that is impossible for any healthy person to sustainably do, they're going to fail. That's going to reduce their self-esteem. That's going to diminish their will and make them more easy to exploit and manipulate. Many decades ago, when I was experimenting with Christianity, I heard the phrase Church of Christ Bucket Brigade, where if an individual had too much zeal, they would put that zeal out as if it was a fire. They wanted everyone a fearful drone, no enthusiasm permitted. So the minions of patriarchy, the minions of religious patriarchy, want us to be broken spirits, broken wills, no hopes of enlightenment, even though the Buddha taught it is possible to master his path and accomplish enlightenment in as little as a week. Teachers of Yang's religious patriarchy, even if they aren't familiar with this phrase, they are familiar with being rigid and controlling and elitist, and they don't want to hear any part of that. The test of a teacher is easy. Let me share it with you. The test of a teacher is not their beauty or their popularity or their fame. It's not their application or resume or credentials or letters of commendation. There's only one meaningful test of any teacher. When you encounter that teacher and you ask for teachings, number one, do they give you teachings? Number two, when you apply those teachings for as little as 5 minutes every 12 hours or so for 7 consecutive days, what is the effect upon our peace and our love? Do they diminish or do they increase? If they diminish and you approach the teacher and tell them what happened, are they helpful, worthless, or harmful? If they are helpful, they may be a good teacher. One moment. Excuse me. All class, all the time. Okay, but if after a week you experience greater anxiety and greater aggression, then that technique and possibly that teacher aren't the best for you. Same thing with a religious text. If a religious text fuels your fear and fuels your aggression, it's not serving you. If a religious text increases your peace and increases your love, then it is serving you. It doesn't matter how old it is or how popular it is or its authorship, which can't be proven. You can't prove authorship of something that claims to have been written 26 centuries ago. But you can observe a text or a teacher's effect upon us. Now, I got some good news and bad news. The good news is this is the surest way to find yin spiritual matriarchy. This is the surest way to find the path that's going to help us to be flexible, loving, rational, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. But it's not easy. It's not comfortable. It's not popular. And it's posed by the ignorant and aggressive masses. Don't forget what happened to Lao Tzu or the Buddha or the Christ. One was exiled, one was felled by a poisoner, the other was tortured and then murdered by the state. But if what we want is peace and love, this is the surest path. So I see a question. Okay, so good morning. Let's see here. I'm going to hopefully push the right button for an interesting change of pace. Let's see here. Yes, that's looking rather weird. Okay, I should be in lesson right. Oh, did I do this? Is lesson... No, that should be okay. And right now, am I in button 5? I am. Well, that's odd. Okay, well, let's not get hung up on the details. I'm going to tap button 8. Okay, so this question is right on track. It's perfect. So let's explore this. Hello, Lama. I have trouble understanding, as I understood detachment as moving away from the materialistic world, but it seems the way you're describing is those of Yang use detachment differently. So that's an excellent question, and I'm glad you brought it up, and I hope I'm pronouncing Shivi correctly. If I'm not pronouncing it correctly, I mean absolutely zero disrespect. So let's go over here. Come on, machine. Wow, this thing is being very persnickety. So I'm going to tap button 5, and I'm going back over here. Let's go to home and go over here. There was a Greek philosophy known as, there are many Greek philosophies, and I'm probably going to get one wrong, but there was a Greek philosophy that said anything physical is bad, and anything non-physical is good. That is not what the Buddha taught. Consider, if you will, the Buddha's three meditation manuals: the the Anapanasati Sutta, the Satipatthana Sutta, and the Mahasatipatthana Sutta. All three of these refer to the 4 bases of mindfulness. And those would be the circumstantial, the physical, the interpersonal, and the mental. At no point in any of those meditation guides, which purport to be the path to enlightenment in as little as a week, and none of those is there a condemnation that says the mental is better than the physical, or vice versa. Instead, we are taught, once again, I'm going to hunt for a visual aid. We are taught to notice what happens, to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. To notice the pleasure, to notice the pain, to notice the plenty, to notice the scarcity, to notice the peril, to notice the safety. We are taught to notice the scorn and the praise, the obscurity and fame. We're taught to notice all of those, neither pushing nor shoving, but simply noticing and releasing in harmony with our inhalation and our exhalation. This is fleshed out very well in the 7 enlightenment factors, where inhalation is referred to as coalescence, for most certainly that is what oxygen is doing during our inhalation, and where the product of exhalation is referred to as tranquility, or releasing, or relaxing. So this is grounded in the teachings of the Buddha. And for instance, hate is non-corporeal. Love is non-corporeal. They are different. There's a difference between someone kissing you in the cheek and someone punching you in the jaw. So we can agree that a punch and a kiss are both physical phenomena, but they are different. They're not the same. Loving someone and hating someone are not the same. So even though many pseudo-intellectuals have taught us that anything spiritual is good, anything materialistic is anything material is bad, that's not what the Buddha taught, and that's not what Lao Tzu taught, and that's not what the Christ taught. The Christ taught there are works of the flesh and works of the spirit, but they're both intangible. Forgive my paraphrase, it's been many years since I quoted the book of Romans, but the works of the flesh are evident. Oh gosh. Hating, craving, clinging, lying, and the like. I can't get, I could actually, I could Google it right now. Yes, I'll just do that. That would be much more effective. So here's what I'm going to do. A quick like a bunny. I am going over here and I'm going to there we go. I'm going to open up this window and I'm going to Google works of the flesh, fruit of the spirit, and okay. So what I'm going to do now is go over here, tap button 8, return to window capture, and see if I can't find. There we go, this one. And I can make it larger to make it, oopsie. I can make it larger to make it easier to read. So, Christ's disciples taught, Paul the apostle taught, that the works of the flesh are evident: sexual morality, impurity, sensuality, idolatry, sorcery, enmity, strife, jealousy, fits of anger, rivalries, dissensions, divisions, envies, drunkenness, orgies. So some of these are physical, but some of them are mental. Envy is not physical. Dissension, divisions is mental. Jealousy is something non-tangible. Enmity is non-tangible. So having done that, let me go back over here and quick like a bunny adjust the window capture. Go back to studio. So I hope that makes sense. The Buddha was very, very simple. When we go back, in fact, I'm going to regale you with yet another visual aid because I'm just that funny. Okay, so let's go over here. Okay. So 50% of the Buddha's Eightfold Path pertains to loving kindness. Kindness of intention, which is non-corporeal. Kindness of communication, which is part spiritual and part physical. Kindness of conduct, which is physical. And kindness of commerce, which is as cooperative as it is kind. So we see a blending of both the spiritual and the physical. There was a time when there were no vows. It was where people just followed the Eightfold Path. Some people call this proto-Buddhism. It has been taught, and I'm going to find yet another visual aid. The more we effectively train in mindfulness and meditation, the more we stimulate the anterior cingulate gyrus. This hunk of meat here that kind of looks like a squishy looking C, this functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy, the root of compassion and love. There is no direct way of training it, but there is an indirect way. The more we practice mindfulness and meditation, the more we experience the highest love, which is the spontaneous and uncontrived and effortless byproduct of noticing and releasing in harmony with our inhalation and our exhalation. So I hope this makes sense to you. Our job is not to renounce anything. Renouncing, saying, I choose to do this, I choose to do that, that is short-lived. That will exhaust our prefrontal cortex, and that will trigger our amygdala, which is the seat of anxiety and aggression. What we can do is say, hey man, when I'm going to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during the inhalation for about 5 minutes every 12 hours or so. And when I do this, I'm going to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice whatever cartwheels across the stage of my mind. And furthermore, I'm going to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during each exhalation, which will help me to physically relax and mentally release whatever I noticed during our previous inhalation. Even if what I noticed during my inhalation was hate or fear, I'm going to notice it. I'm going to release it. And doing that is going to stimulate my empathy. Excuse me again. So that even though I might feel the full spectrum of human emotions, I'll be more and more drawn to doing the kind thing. Excuse me. Yes, I am the mayor of mucus at your service. So I hope this makes sense to you, Shivi. Now what I'd like to do is, quick like a bunny, jump to this page and proclaim that this concludes the opening lesson. And now what I'd like to do is be extra silly. Got to push the right button. There we go. I want to be extra silly and say, it is Luke Skywalker Friday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi after 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I could become your nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi. I should say, welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. So we're going to park it right here in my favorite of all Shastras. One moment, I got to find the right button. It only works if I click the right button. This is the vast expanse of the diamond-like mind composed oh so very long ago by Prahe Vajra, translated from the Tibetan by Namkai Norbu, translated from the Italian by Adriano Clemente, adapted and amplified by yours truly. Now, heads up guys. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist philosophy, or Buddhist meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window, just like Shivi did. Shivi, you get a Yoda high five. Let's chant together. I pay homage to the Bhagavan archetype of enlightenment. Glorious diamond-like strength of mind. Glorious diamond-like strength of a mind well trained in mindfulness and meditation. Oh, sorry, I forgot a line. Glorious diamond-like strength of a mind well trained in mindfulness and meditation. Vajrasattva. So Vajrasattva literally translates as diamond mind. Here is the explanation. It is merely an archetype. Yes, we can be superstitious and maybe we can be religious, rigid, and treat an archetype as if it was a surrogate parent in the sky, but doing such things will forever keep us children, so says the Apostle Paul in the 13th chapter of 1 Corinthians. Rather, we view Vajrasattva, real or imagined, as an archetype, reminding us that the energetic is dynamic yet non-graspable, reminding us that the physical is sensual yet non-graspable, reminding us that the mental is clear yet non-graspable, reminding us that the interpersonal is resounding yet non-graspable, reminding us that the circumstantial is appearing yet non-graspable. That is why yadams or archetypes such as this are depicted on one hand as being beautiful and safe and in paradises, but on the other hand as being translucent and comprised only of light. This goes back to the Madhyamaka teachings of the Buddhist South Indian philosopher Nagarjuna. The late former head of the Nyingma order, Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche, insisted, this is important, the teachings, the practices of Tantra are based upon the teachings of Sutra, with which they must never deviate. And bases of mindfulness are taught in the most rudimentary Buddhist texts. And that is what is symbolized by the energy, body, mind relationship or speech and circumstances of any yadam. And so in the author's day, in the author's time, in the author's place of living, Vajrasattva was very popular. And so capitalizing upon that, using a name, a proper noun of a real or imagined entity that the multitudes were familiar with, he referred to it frequently because, like all good educators, he relied upon the zeitgeist or the culture where he lived. Let's continue. The vastic sense of Vajrasattva diamond-like mind is like the ever-good and immense ultimate dimension of phenomena. Being pure, the complete path that liberates all, does not arise or does not arise or see. This is an editing opportunity. Oh, what fun it is to spell check. I'm going to hit button 24 and hit italics. Okay, I see someone wrote something and I will deal with that momentarily. I just want to complete the present moment task. Okay, so here we go. Being pure, the complete path that liberates all, does not arise or cease, does not actively analyze anything. Okay, let's try this again. .24 and italics. Okay. Being pure, the complete path that liberates all, is as non-graspable as if it did not arise or cease. and did not actively analyze anything. Okay, so question. Yoga Girl, hey, there does not seem to be a super chat button or way to donate to you. Wow, that's weird. Well, it's very kind that you noticed. Um, that is weird because I thought I crossed all my T's and dotted all my I's. If you have any expertise in that, I would really value your help. This is all new to me. Um, so thank you for bringing that to my attention, Yoga Girl. You're the best. I send you a Yoda high five, I guess high three. Let's continue. Being love and thus thoroughly accomplished, it does not strive to practice great compassion. Being great, the profound qualities of greatness need not be praised. So it began with a pronoun, which can be a little troubling. So I'm going to try to shed some light on that. Being loving or interior, singular, gyrus, and thus thoroughly accomplished. It does not strive to practice great compassion. Being great, the profound qualities of greatness need not be praised. So we do not have to coerce ourselves into practicing empathy. We have already evolved to do that. Phenomena do not undermine the authentic condition of all Buddha nature, which is liberation because it self-liberates effortlessly without action. Since self-originated wisdom is beyond contrived searching, in liberating itself it also shows others the path of liberation. The great elements of the Bhagavan archetype of enlightenment. That exists by nature in all things. So in other words, our wind element is dynamic yet not graspable. Our earth element is solid yet not graspable. Our water element is moist yet not graspable. Our fire element is warm yet not graspable. Our space element is our space element is vast yet not graspable. It's tough to. I run out of synonyms when dealing with the space element sometimes. However wrongly it may be conceived, liberation originates from oneself and not elsewhere. In fact, thank you, Yoga Girl, for bringing that up. I think I know of a consultant I can reach out to. The wisdom of greatness is difficult to actively strive to find. It is realized through method and prajna. Prajna is a method is simply noticing in harmony with our inhalation. Prajna is relaxing in harmony with our exhalation. It's just that simple. Though it could be said to depend on something else, real bliss originates from oneself. This is deliciously controversial, and this is a common theme that will resurface several times in this text. The guru is not the be-all, end-all. The outer teacher serves only to help us find the inner teacher of mindfulness and meditation. It is mindfulness and meditation, our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, which we access through inhalation and exhalation, that are our ultimate teacher. Let's continue. The great miracle is not difficult. So the great miracle is a synonym for enlightenment. Consider, if you will, this image of Kuntu Zangpo Yabyo, also known as Samantabhadra, Samantabhadri, Karmamudra, also known as the All Good Ones sporting a tantric union. Cue the 70s porn music, bow chicka bow bow. This iconography reminds us of four things. The mastery of mindfulness, whose vulnerability is symbolized by their nudity. The mastery of meditation's non-graspability, symbolized by their translucence, their non-graspability. The mastery of empathy, symbolized by their beauty. The mastery of centered spontaneity, symbolized by the centeredness, symbolized by the manner with which the blue individual is sitting, and the spontaneity is symbolized by which the individual, the color of a cumulus cloud, is sporting. Let's continue. All qualities and capabilities immediately arise from within oneself, through subtle understanding of the authentic condition. So, subtle understanding we gain by relaxing into our exhalation. The authentic condition, ooh, look at that. Here we go. The authentic condition is simply that which we notice as we inhale. That which we notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. And it could be anything. It could be the external or the internal, or the physical or the mental or the pleasurable or the painful or the interesting or the boring or the glorious or the grotesque. So let's see here. Together. Meditation is relaxing without seeking in the dharmata that does not appear up visibly. So, it's not concentrating. It's not analyzing. It's just letting go. And we let the river take us where it will. If one actively searches either for the dharmata or for something in it, the natural condition will never manifest. The path is yin, not yang. The supremely secret reality cannot be heard through the sense of hearing. Likewise, it cannot be expressed by the tongue, not even in the slightest. Though I opine eloquently, my blathering pales before the technicolor splendor of that which is inherent in your own mind as you sit in meditation. The suffering of beings is the bodhicitta that fully manifests while pervading all. I apologize for the editing opportunity. I'm just trying to make things as comprehensive as I can. So I'm going to add one accent and remove another. Okay, so let's see if this fits on the screen adequately. Excellent. Okay. The suffering of beings is the play of energy that can reveal the bodhicitta mindset of enlightenment that fully manifests while pervading all. So when we suffer, it's not an indictment. It doesn't mean we're a bad person and we're experiencing the bad consequences of our bad actions. Shit happens. The rain falls on the just and the unjust alike. There is emotional energy. Some emotions are pleasurable, some are painful, but they're both energy. Since physical sensations can be thought of as being like energy. Some are pleasurable, some are painful, but they're both energy. By thinking of it that way, we experience the equanimity that says, whatever pleasure I notice, I'm going to release. Whatever pain I notice, I'm going to release. Whatever neutral experience I notice, I'm going to release. By having the same response to whatever befalls us, we are experiencing the equanimity, which is the seventh enlightenment factor. Without ever being moved it up equally, just as the reaches of space. That which is the equality of all distinctions is conceived by figuratively saying it is karma. Were it really or literally under the power of karma. Self-originated wisdom would not exist. So, the fact that we can use painful things to benefit us would blow up karma. Because let me rephrase it. It would blow up the rigid patriarchal view of punitive karma. For instance, there was a time where, as a disabled man, I was sexually assaulted. And when memories of that assault come to mind, I'm able to work with them to strengthen my mindfulness and meditation, as opposed to being tormented by them. And so our mindfulness and meditation transcend the punitive nature of the myth of karma. Let's one moment here. I am looking for 24, and I'm looking for italics, and I'm looking for spell check. Let's continue. The causes the diamond-like Kovasha Buddha nature as all the secondary conditions. Never having been born, it cannot be destroyed. Since it is the Bodhi essence that exists from the beginning, the ultimate dimension is not moved by the effort of thought. Welcome to the first of 5 mindful crease counting meditations. Let us rest the great knuckle at the base of our right little finger upon the tip of our left little finger, palms up in our lap. All right, so now let us practice the essence of mindfulness and meditation. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist philosophy, or Buddhist meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. Whoops, that was the wrong button. Please chant with me. Meditative Meditative stability of supreme quality. Being real meditative stability is beyond the tyranny of thought. Without applying thought or purifying. In accordance with the nature from thought, in accordance with nature from thought itself, the wisdom of letting go springs forth. So we don't need antidotes. We don't need to we don't need to indulge our controlling tendencies and say, well, I'm feeling anger, so I better meditate on love. I'm feeling fear, so I better concentrate on peace. That is a philosophy of antidotes espoused by the Lojong tradition, but the founder of Dzogchen is saying, no, you don't need that. Notice as you breathe in, notice with the utmost of vulnerability whatever comes up, glorious or grotesque, interesting or boring. As you exhale, physically relax and mentally release as best you can. You don't have to force it. It's already wired into our central nervous system thanks to our parasympathetic nervous system. It's already part of us. All we got to do is get out of our own way. So by simply noticing and releasing in harmony with our inhalation and our exhalation, contrived antidotes become superfluous. Quoting the expression gateway to the subtle, they seek the path by isolating the mind. Maintaining isolation in a secluded place. If we examine it well, this is conceptual meditation. They coin the terms cause and effect. But both virtues and negativities dissolve completely. So this is important. But both virtues and negativities dissolve completely in exhalation's relaxation. Let's make sure that fits on the screen. That's always important. So, whether we are experiencing love or hate, whether we notice love or hate as we breathe in, that experience is released as we relax into our exhalation. The non-graspability of everything is the common denominator, the philosophical justification of non-duality. Allow me to explain. As we inhale, there is duality. Dog shit is completely different than a candy bar. I hope you would agree with that, otherwise you don't get to make me dessert. So... as we inhale, there is duality. There is dog dew and there is Hershey's chocolate. As we relax, the repugnant and the enticing both share the same non-graspable nature. That is the root of non-duality. The temporary, fleeting non-duality we experience during our exhalation. Let's continue. They say we will get out of this world and nurture supreme complacency with dualities accepting and rejecting. Attachment and non-attachment are the path of words, and also something in the middle is also as non-graspable as an echo. Happiness and suffering have the same cause of mind, said the diamond like mind archetype of Vajrasattva, Lord of Beings. Attachment, anger, and ignorance arise from the path of the total Bodhi, which is enlightenment. So, as we breathe in, we are subject to the entire spectrum of sights and sights, everything from the beautiful to the ugly, of sounds, everything from the harmonious to the discordant, sensations, everything from pleasure to pain, flavors, anything from delicious to disgusting, scent, anything from fragrant to foul. The same is true with emotions and intentions, and thoughts and memories and imaginings. We experience the entire perspective, including greed and hate and confusion. They are not indictments to be repressed. They are things to be noticed and then relaxed into. Let's continue. The five sense subjects of enjoyment too, also to be the ornament of the Dharma-datta dimension, a metaphor of the mastery of awareness and release. So, there are some people who says, oh, you have to run away from all attachments. So if you love the sound of a cat purring, then plug up your ears lest you be attached. Tantra says, as you breathe in, listen to the sound of the cat purring. As you exhale, release the sound of the cat purring. The next inhalation, you could notice it again. The next exhalation, you could release it again. That's how purring could pave the path of enlightenment. Space is beyond the arising of thought, and thought itself is like space, without attachment. From space dedication, one's great aim, it manifests as space. So we are already wired to wish others well, thanks to our anterior cingulate gyrus. So simply by noticing and releasing, we don't need to recite great, lengthy, flowery wishes for all beings' welfare, for we are already wired to do so. Thought-free equality is the Dharmakaya mastery of awareness and letting go. Like the moon's reflection in water, it cannot be grasped. So I'm going to replace this here. With the phrase, there's a difference between actively analyzing and just letting thoughts come and go. Thoughts that come and go are no hindrance. Thoughts that we passively allow to come and go are no hindrance. However, actively choosing what to think and what to analyze are a hindrance. Let's continue. Through the energy manifestation of Samanta Mantra, the Ali Kali of vowels and consonants are profoundly displayed. Through the eye and the beautiful thought, upon the emanated branches. Write myself a note here real quick. Where did it go? 19th page 47. Okay. In the sphere of experience of the whole world, the profound voice of the Buddha seems to arise. Wonderful, the sphere of experience of the Buddhas is not a place to be found by active searching. And like the phenomena of the six senses, it is also not an object we should grasp after. Those who actively search for it are like the mind reaching for the sky. The gradual path of purity that seemingly leads higher and higher does not correspond to the nature behind action. Oops, look at that. I fouled up the display. Here we go. Sorry, kids. The gradual path of purity that seemingly leads higher and higher does not correspond to the nature behind action. Were there really a path to tread just like the bounds of the sky, one would never arrive. The authentic condition being thus by being shown as it is attained. As it is the very essence, its manifestation arises from it. Oh, how marvelous! Okay, here we go. Let's rest the great knuckle at the base of the right ring finger upon the tip of the left ring finger, palms up in our lap. Please chant with me. Time past and time present, or the authentic condition that is complete in its own place. Together, time past and time present share the same non-graspable nature known as the authentic condition that is complete in its own place. Likewise, its path is the same. This is its very nature. The universal path that is the same as that is like the moon and the basis of its reflection. As it is the absolute equality of all, it is not realized within a limited view. Present bliss and later bliss, or what is directly experienced and what ensues from it, since they imply a defect of an aspect, one should not rely on them. The three times are one without distinction, without past or future, it exists from the beginning. All are the same, for all are pervaded by the Dharmakaya that is the mastery of awareness and release. Thus abiding in nature's total greatness, finding oneself in the three realms of existence, all is just like a name and a magical illusion. The three realms of existence are the desire realm, the form realm, and the formless realm. Even the great Satisava Chakravartin universal king, being like a magical illusion, is a number to purify. The highest heaven or the lowest hell are both things to observe and things to release. For those whose attitude depends on time, enlightenment does not manifest in time. If one practices with an aspiration without being free, the saying on the characteristic of emptiness applies. All are one totally beyond an aspect. The yogi dwells on the pathways as invisible as those of birds in the sky, in the essence that never occurred and never originated. In the essence that feels as ungraspable as if it never occurred and never originated, that where are all phenomena supposed to exist? Outer and inner are both, the outer is the inner. Outer and inner are like each other, the outer is like the inner. The profound is not an object of understanding, not even a part of it. Existence is only a name, the power of mistaken assumption. Thus one remains separate from the equality of meditation. The outer and inner samaya of house abide in the sensual yet empty nature of the aggregates and sense bases. Since in the three times no one is ever separate from it, there is no need to ever use the word samaya. Immovable, it is a symbol of the body. Unshakable, it is the symbol of its wisdom. Not taking hold of anything, it has no self. Not rejecting anything, it has a balance that transcends words. Notwithstanding what, whose, and where, all that one uses and enjoys arises from oneself. Here of males and females, the king of equality has never spoken. Let us rest the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger, upon the tip of our left middle finger, palms up in our lap. Together. Here there is no mention of something to accomplish by means of resolute, forceful conduct. Yet it is believed that by embracing the Anpa, the bliss of magical illusion arises. Damn, I did it again. Okay, there we go. Okay. Excuse me. Since nature cannot be defined in a single way, it appears according to how one looks at it. Even the bliss from the effort and wish of it for its manifestation is a great hindrance and defect. In all the secondary methods for Bodhi enlightenment, one meditates on the attributes of a tantric archetype. As being as non-graspable as the moon's reflection on water. But even if something completed and unattached results, such meditation is like the sphere of experience of an ordinary person. Although by identifying with the body of a great wrathful archetype, with its body, wrathful grimaces, and other attributes, yet even with the syllable concretely visualized, the authentic condition of the quiescent state is not seen. Just as the top of a palm tree is cropped, and just as a seed is burnt by fire, likewise the tyranny of powerful emotions may be prevented, as some have taught. All the hundreds and thousands of methods, according to what one practices, bear their specific fruits. But since enlightenment is beyond conceptual characteristics, it is not manifest from these techniques. But since enlightenment is beyond active conceptual analysis, it is not manifest from these techniques. Good fortune has a yogi who abides in this indescribable state, for by not discriminating between self and others, the magical illusion of enlightenment self-perfection manifests. As nothing is excluded, it is perfectly complete. Unchangingly it remains pure. Boundless like space, it is not a phenomenon that depends on something else, including one's teacher. Mindfulness and meditation are the ultimate teacher. The spontaneously existing total bliss arises from recognition through the very power of the incomparable wisdom accessed by relaxing into exhalation. The mastery of reality does not originate from anything else. It is both easy and difficult. It only seems difficult because it is easier than we've been led to believe. It does not manifest directly, for it is all-pervading. Not even the archetype Vajrasattva can point it out with a proclamation saying this is it. This amazing manifestation of marvelous passive awareness energy is beyond karmic action and equal to vast space. That's one moment. Let's go back here. This amazing manifestation of marvelous passive awareness energy is beyond the myth of punitive karmic action unequal to vast space. From the ignorance that does not conceptualize anything, this energy of passive awareness immediately arises within oneself. Let us rest all four fingertips of our left hand upon the great knuckles of our right hand. And now avert this mess, palms up in our lap. This is the path equally available to all, that naturally abides in all beings. But since ordinary people are defiled by delusions, we are like doctors shopping for medicine we already possess. This domain of relaxed exhalations understanding is total bliss. That itself is like a Buddha's real or imagined, utterly pure land of Vanti. When illuminating light like awareness of coalesces from all sides as we inhale. The four directions, the intermediate ones, and those above and below seem to be produced from the subtle spectrum of relaxing exhalations, rainbow-like non-graspability. The five Buddha families, features of elements, perceptions, aggregates, and mental poisons appear to manifest. And likewise the moving features and unmoving environments seem to manifest. Passivity's non-conceptual whole being superior to the five elements minutiae of active analysis. That which is noticed does not abide in the designations of past, future, and present. Understanding that as we relax into our exhalation, that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as non-graspable as if it was neither arising nor ceasing. This itself is the integration of the three times of past, present, and future into the state of total emptiness, like non-graspability. Being equal, there is no offering to gradually arrange. One moment, if you please. All objects and phenomena being equal, there is no offering to gradually arrange. All things sharing one empty nature, they all beyond dedicating something towards a specific intention. Although lovely objects seem to exist and could therefore seem to be offered, since they share an empty nature, there is really nothing permanent to offer. Being spontaneously present to all our perceptions, emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, and imaginings, they all beyond dedicating. Comically pure from the beginning, all awareness is like bliss-inducing nectar. There is therefore no need to be particularly focused on either mental phenomena in the five sense objects or brain in the five sense organs with any special intention. So let me go back here for a moment. So this is a common tantric practice to offer all sights, offer all sounds, offer all sensation, offer all offer all flavors, offer all sense. But we're taught this is not necessary. This is a falling into duality. This is a falling into our controlling tendencies, and is best stepped over. Like a steaming load of doggy dew one might encounter on one's walk. Together. The intention of the mind to notice vulnerably, passively, slowly, randomly, and fleetingly is the donor offering all that is noticed. Enlightenment, siddhi, accomplishment arises from the perfecting practice of inhalations, noticing, and exhalations, release. Practicing, noticing, and release even for an instant is union. Delighting in this mindfulness and meditation is the fulfillment of all samaya tantric vows. Mentally dancing between noticing and releasing all that may befall us is the ultimate offering of the union of non-duality. This giving without clinging is the ultimate dharma cake offering. Having transcended dualistic action, all ritual duties are fulfilled. Since non-conceptual wisdom eliminates abstracting phenomena and entities, the silence of balanced meditation is the ultimate mantra. Making offerings to the Guru generosity and all the other so-called meritorious deeds. Could become a great ensnarement to practice without scented spontaneity's power of detachment and imperturbability. By the way, centered spontaneity is the effortless byproduct of mindfulness and meditation. Therefore, that which is expressed in this teaching could be obscured by trying to make it happen. Being thus, if it is actively analyzed, it could never be realized. We come to the fifth and final mindful crease counting meditation of this morning's live stream. Let us rest the great knuckle at the base of our right index finger upon the tip of our left index finger, palms up in our lap. What's going on here? Well, that's weird. Oh, derp. Okay. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. Oopsie. In approximately 8 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.